My son recently shared his goal for the upcoming exams. He wants to get a good marks in math. My immediate question was define good. If he thinks 45 is good but I am expecting 80, then we have a massive alignment gap here. This moment reminds me that subjective goal often leads to disappointments. In the business too, this goes to say it is critical to define a common quantifiable benchmark for the success. Hello everyone, myself Kaushal Khokhar, founder and CEO of PyTech Solutions. In the software development, the time estimates are crucial to ship things in a timely manner, and that can only be achieved if deliverables are measured at the beginning itself. And this is really important. Time estimates has a direct relation with the features associated with the requirement. The MVP and its size helps to determine accurate estimates. Today, I am here to present a simple framework that I use to determine accurate time estimates. Let me share my blog page so it will be easy for me to explain things. This is my blog which explains the entire framework I use to calculate the time estimates. Let me directly jump to the points that I want to share here. And that is, first is problem and outcome. Every application should be driven from the real problems. If one does not have any real problem, then there is no need of any fancy systems. I ask a simple question to make it easy for client. What change they want to see after the MVP? If someone, let's say, building an ERP system to manage their business operation, then my question is what change he needs out of this software solution? And this is what which drives the real application. The next and very important question that I ask is what does success look like after 30 days of launch of this product? So success metrics can be different for different users and organizations. So for example, reduction in production time to 10% can be a success score. Delegation of work become frictionless can be a success for score for someone. Easily catch bottlenecks in the workflow can be a success metric. Or who knows, tasks do not hang without assigning can be a success score. So there are different success metrics for the organizations and real users. So problem and outcome is really important to identify. This is the foundation and driving point of the application. Second thing, users and roles. This is also important. People ignore to scope out roles and permission, or maybe they push that to later stage. But it is almost all softwares should have clear roles and permission mapping. So it is really important to define who can see what and who can do what. So this will actually give you the real answers. Then I used to jump into core workflows, right? So this is important. People try to cover lots of features in the V1 itself. The I generally don't recommend this practice. Instead of that, I recommend to have 3 to 5 must workflows that is included in the MVP. Once we have defined and built MVP successfully, later on we can extend it to cover all the different features that we want to build. But this is important to identify and prioritize your workflows. Fourth is data entities. So once we have all of these relevant informations about the domain, then we can derive the data entities from it. And data entities actually drive the databases. That is why it is important. Say for example, user, organization, order, tickets, payments. So these are actually the nouns. Once we have those information, we can derive nouns, and nouns will actually drive the database schema. So that is fourth element. Final functional element that I will say is integrations. A lot of application needs a third party integration and application plugin, and those are out of control. So it is also important to identify what integrations we need to include in the application. Final sixth element is non-functional basics. People generally ignore this, but it is important to identify non-functional basics are also, such as performance of the application, security of the application, where how we want to manage logins, right? So all of those important non-functional artifacts needs to be listed as well. So if someone has identified the six important things that we want to build in the application, now next is to break it down into the milestones, right? So I use four important milestone framework. One is the foundation setup, where I set up the user management, organization management, authentication, roles and permission management. I say this M1 as milestone one, and which is the foundation of the application. Then second is the M2, and M2 is for actually core workflows and features that we want to build in that. So that is M2. Third is admin and reporting. Generally, any application needs nice admin views. They want to include KPIs, trends, charts, visuals. So all of those reporting needs will be included in M3. And once we have the M3, and final step is also important, and which is to review them, validate them, taste them and deploy them. So basically we are polishing that, right? We are refining our, and we are giving final touch to our software. So this is how I divide the efforts into four milestones, and based on that I will just give the estimates. This exercise helps me to evaluate the time range of the deliverables, such as 2 weeks, 3 weeks, depending on the work. So now let me come to the closing notes so we can just highlight the key takeaways of this entire story. Sometimes people will argue that it is also important to consider the availability of developers as an important factor to decide the timeline. The point is not to debate about which factors to include and to exclude. The lesson is accurate estimates becomes very easy and fast if you have a clear framework to derive. When you move from subjective guesses to objective matrices, that is what I mean by define good. One bonus element I am giving you. Once you have the accurate time estimates, it's easy for you to define the budget as well. Share your idea in 5 to 6 bullet points. I will provide you the estimates that you need. Do it, it's very easy. Happy learning. Thanks for watching.